And on the line, we have the president of the Manitoba Métis Federation, one of the busiest guys. And I'll tell you, what a week he's going to have. Well, every week is busy for him.
Well, Ray, I'm in the Southwest region right now. I just finished speaking at the Southwest special meeting of the Constitution and the amendments and changes that are coming in the correction of the, fixing up the grammar in the Constitution itself. And gave a good historical reflection about when the Constitution actually came into play in 1967, given the fact that there was so much harm done to our people and there was no voice to defend them and no organization at the time, of course, being called now our governments, but organization. And so I think all those past leaders, all the way from 1967 and forward, that played such a pivotal role in creating a voice to protect the rights and culture and identity of our people and also the rights to family. So those are essential, concepts in our Constitution, democracy, and the right of local and grassroots voice. So they're all paramount, and they're all part of where we are today because of the wisdom of somebody way back then who finally created the Federation to defend those that have been mistreated and still yet to be addressed. So, again, I want to state again to the Lila Plante, of course, is a unbelievable, one that doesn't stop working, and no matter how much health challenges you'll face, and her family. Of course, Jill, one of my heroes, her daughter, she's legally blind and but has many chronic illnesses, but never stops her. Never stops her from having a positive attitude and trying to do something or keep involved. I have such great pride in that. I said it really. I told the crowd this morning that's who we are as a Métis people. That's if you look at the way Jill leads and the way a lot of our people have led in the past, or especially our parents and others, no matter how tough times were, they found a way to get past it and move forward. So, and that's the Métis way. And I expressed how, which I did on the show a few times already, when we'll get on as a minister, again, repairing housing and going across private houses and helping those that need just a little bit of help to get their house back into a good position. Would always, needing more. They need more. We see the house. They need more. The roof and maybe the eavesdrops and the doors are not. The windows aren't in good shape. But they'll say, "Oh, just give me a roof and eavesdrops, and that's good enough." And give somebody else support. It's just the way of the Métis, like hardworking, dedicated, and kind. So that's the way. And of course, I said there'll always be one in a crowd. They'll say, "I want more. I want more. I want." It never ends, right? So, but the most majority of the Métis way, the culture still resonates within families today everywhere. So I'm so proud of our people, and I said that's what drives me to work every day. That's what drives me to keep on pushing for change and advancement and finding ourselves where we fit in Confederation. So we're going through the Constitution today. I'm here in Brandon. Tomorrow I'm in Dauphin, and following that I'm in the Paw, and then on the 12th, and then I'm in Thompson on the 13th. And then Sunday, I'll be in the Southeast and Interlake having a joint meeting. So you are right, Ray. Every weekend I'm going full speed ahead and getting ready for our upcoming assembly. And, and I'm looking forward to this. Even today, everybody still has to have double vaccination and mask here at this meeting. But people just waiting to hug somebody, waiting to smile, waiting to even just give a nudge. But the atmosphere of being in the same room with your loved ones, and you can still feel the pressure from so many that are out there, still hoping that this virus would get away from our world and we can still live in some normalcies. And people like, for example, I was talking to Doug Sanderson, his wife, of course, she's Métis, and Doug used to be Métis, but he took his Bill C. He comes originally from Duck Bay, he was our neighbor. But his wife is in a hospital. I'm not going to give names because she's stage 4 cancer, and I'll wait till her mom and say I can say her name. But everybody knows what Doug's wife is. But she was in the hospital, and he phoned us the other night and saying, "Look, she's not being treated well in there. She's being abandoned." And so of course we quickly reacted and had April call the hospital, and they dealt with it right away. And I want to thank the St. Boniface Hospital response. The doctors and the nurses quickly corrected that, because they are bombarded with so much demands, and sometimes they overlook a patient, and you need to at least tell them what's going on. So they fixed the problem right away. But again, you look at those aspects of it. People can't go in hospital to visit their loved ones, and funerals. But now the funerals are getting better and bigger. So there's more people that can come and help in the grieving process and show their respect and kindness to others who are hurting. So I talked about that this morning. We're coming to a hill now. and we're probably seeing the other side of this hill, and I hope we can keep on now going down the hill with clarity. But I also reminded our audience here today, all the different locals from across the Southwest, how vulnerable we are as a society, as a people. One virus crippled the world, not crippled Canada, crippled the world. Right. And so it just tells you, as human beings, how vulnerable we actually are. And I did raise the issue again. There was prayers by Joan Church this morning, and on behalf of the Southwest, and I want to thank again the Southwest citizens, the Métis, a lot of the elders in the crowd and others all sent prayers to Ukraine, again expressing their sadness and their sorrow for all those people that are suffering and dying, and the children that are dying, the women that are dying, the elders, and many that are going to be without family, with broken families, because all their men are staying behind, all the women and children that can flee are fleeing. But over 1 million, I believe, already, and a lot of them may not have a father. A lot of them may not have a husband or a dad. So you start looking at that. That's the future of these people, and that's sad. So I was very proud as the Métis government and cabinet unanimously agreed without hesitation to do our part, because we are connected to the Ukraine family also. There's a lot of intermarriages that have happened with the Ukraine families, and a lot of them were working in our economies of fishing and different. And there was some challenges back and forth with Ukrainians too. But at the end of the day, they have the same kind of principles as we do. We believe in our identity, we believe in our culture, believe in who we are, and we'll defend it till death. And we've done that in the past, in our history. They've shown us that in our struggles with Riel, Cuthbert Grant, and you look at Gilbert Javon, all these people that have vigorously fought to defend our lands and our family, and we paid the price. But they are paying a much, much, much more horrendous price based on the population is so big. And again, it's just sad to see it. And I pray every morning, I pray every night for them in Ukraine, and we give $100,000 on behalf of all Métis people to help the aid of Ukraine. We got a kind letter from Red Cross saying thank you so much. The province of Manitoba gave $150,000. We give $100,000 as the Métis government. So I'm proud of our ability. We have good success in our businesses, and I'm very proud that we can represent our people, represent our families, to show that we care and it does matter to us what's happening, even though it's so far, far away from us. But the potential, it could happen in our backyard when we start talking nuclear weapons. As you know, just the other day, the news was they almost, damaged and potentially opened up one of the biggest nuclear plants in Europe, in Ukraine. And if that would happen, Ukraine was in massive trouble, big trouble. There'd be death everywhere if that radiation would have got out. So that tells you how scary it is. And I'm not talking just Ukraine, I'm talking Europe. And so it is so deadly. And that's, I think, when my granddaughter asked me the question, I tried to explain to her without fearing her, without scaring her, that we need to be watching this. We need to be hoping that the resolve at the end of the day will make sure that Putin walks away, that these sanctions we know it's starting to work now, that people are feeling the hit in Russia, and hopefully but as you know, over there, you're not allowed to tell what's going on. The media is not allowed to go to jail. They say they even call it a war. So it's just crazy that it's a communist country. And that's a good point about our democracy, the Federation, believe in grassroots, believe in our locals, and so forth and so forth. So, again, for all those, send your prayers to your Ukrainian family and all those out there. And I'll give you some updates also to send prayers to other families here. We lost Audrey Norrie. She passed away on February 27th. Audrey was a long-time worker at the Federation, and she was one with great pride, one of the smoothest dancers you ever seen on the dance floor. And she smoothly went from end to end. And she pushed education big time for us at the Federation, and culture and identity was some of her passions. And she lived with her daughter. She moved to British Columbia, lived with her daughter, and she lived with her family out there. And now she's entered her new home, and she'll eventually come home back to Manitoba. We're working with the family to see what the plans are as she prepares herself to come home and rest here in entirety. And you look at another one, Cynthia Klein. I don't know. Follows my accent here. I was trying to make sure I pronounce it right. Condolences to the Klein family on the loss of Cynthia Klein. That's the late Edward and Marianne Klein's daughter. So, again, our condolences go to the Klein family. And we also want to say to Yvonne Chartrand and to her family, Kenneth, son, and Donna, all of them are players, go out to you. And Ken was an RCMP officer. I think he's retired now. But Yvonne was very proud of her children. And I want to, again, express my my prayers to their family. I know them personally, so I want to say on behalf of my family, yours, our condolences go to them. So if you can send prayers to the Ukraine family, the Uri family, the Klein family, and the Chartrand family, please do so. Right now, you're sitting and you're listening to the show, and take a few minutes to send prayers. I assure you they'll feel the well wishes of that process. Also, we have one of our veterans, World War II veterans. His name is Russell Linklater. He's 102, Ray. He's in the hospital right now in Selkirk, and he'll be 103 at the end of March. And so I want to send again cheer up to him, and hopefully everything will turn out okay. So I want to thank Noreen Linklater and Gudmundsson for reaching out to our government to tell their uncle Russell his situation. He's in the hospital. He's a World War II veteran. So definitely our prayers are going to go for Mr. Linklater to advise him that we're thinking of him, and we'll do our part to make sure we help him in any way that's possible. So if the family's listening, if there's anything we can do to help out, make sure you call the Federation. So happy birthday. Also, I'll finish these and get these out so I can get back to some work stuff here. Happy birthday, Desiree Gillespie is celebrating her birthday in March 7th. And also happy birthday to Ken Danielson out in Cranberry Portage, February 27th. Ken is, I think, 85. Happy birthday to Dustin Tanson. His birthday is Friday, March 4th. And happy birthday to John Curtis. Many of the business community know him. He works for us, Federation. He represents the Métis Economic Development Fund. So happy birthday, John, if you're listening. And a big congratulations going out to Jordan Jackson on a safe arrival of his new baby girl, Petra Rose Jackson. She was born February 16. So proud granny Sheila Jackson. So again, Jordan is one of my longtime buddies, and always looked up to me since he was a kid. So I'm very, very proud of you, Jordan. And again, to Ken Danielson, 85 years old, out in Cranberry. That's what it says here, Ken. So I don't know if that's right. I think it's coming from Fatso. But anyways, happy birthday. Again, on these constitutional discussions that are happening, we're, of course, as we always do, we try to get our locals and grassroots people ahead of the opportunity to understand these changes and significant impacts, if any, will happen. All throughout our career in the last 23 years, we always go out. It doesn't say in our Constitution we have to give notice, but for these type of informational updates, but we go out to make sure if there's any changes, we give at least a year's notice. We did last year, and we did consultations on this prior. So these discussions are important. They're going in hand in hand with our July 6th self-government agreement, our upcoming modern-day treaty we're negotiating. So all of the language changes is going from board now to government to cabinet to caucus. All these things are now fundamentally need to be changed in the Constitution and set forth the pathway of the future. So again, a lot of these things, right? You'll also hear some people sometimes in the Facebook world or internet world, IT world, Twitter, trying to criticize the structural process of the Constitution, saying, why do I have to sit on the local to first if I can run the Federation? Well, I'm telling you, some time ago, way back then, our leaders in the past have already put this process in place. And it's like testing a car. If you're going to buy a car, you want to make sure it runs well. You want to test drive it. So I think our people many, many moons ago said, look, if you believe you should run our government and lead our government, lead our people, then you should at least have the will and the drive to show who you are, show your leadership, and at least sit on a local for one term. And that was a decision made many, many moons ago. And now it's gone even a little bit more advanced because now we're dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars and potential billions in the future. So our people are very, very astute in making sure that when they see leaders coming forward, that the leaders are truly tested, and at the same time they recognize that they're devoted to a cause and the rights of the people. So these parts of the Constitution are there. I know people out there are criticizing and saying, I should have the right to run. I don't have to go sit on any local. Well, if you can't sit on 12 meetings, then you've got a problem. So that's what really results to, Ray. So the wisdom of our people some time ago already set the stage for this. And I said, if people don't want to sit on the local, they decide that they don't want to be part of supporting the grassroots structural design of our government, then they're dealing with the wrong place. Go run somewhere else that doesn't require you to be devoted or committed or at least tested. And if you look at any structure, I don't care what it is, federal, provincial, these leaders that run for leadership, they don't just walk in there, and then all of a sudden they can run. It doesn't work that way. You've got to go through different mechanisms and tests and structures. Same thing when you go for a job, Ray. You got to put your resume. You got to show who you are, show what skills you have before they hire you. So no different here. Our wisdom of our people many moons ago already knew the future, planned the future, and again, for those people today that believe they don't have to follow these things, I think they need to understand. First, look and read the Constitution. Ask yourself, what are you running for? If you want to be involved in politics and run for the government, what are you running for? Are you running for yourself, or are you running for the people? If you're running for the people, then why would you have a hard time saying, I'm going to start committing myself by learning and joining the local, getting myself committed to go to 12 meetings. And once I finish my 12 meetings in those 3 years, then I can run, sit on cabinet and caucus. Then I can have a bigger say. Then in the future, you want to run for president? You've been tested. Now run for president. Now you're managing millions and millions, affecting tens and tens of thousands of people on your decisions, so people can know that you can trust their leaders. So again, it's been set by very wise people, the people themselves. As I said to the people this morning, you guys set these agendas. You guys told us that you want. In fact, they wanted tougher rules, right? They wanted people to have degrees, and they wanted to have people no criminal records and all these other things, and put up a big deposit if you're going to run. We were able to convince the people that it would be too strenuous and on many of disallowing, proper candidates to run maybe one day. And so the first, let's use what our elders have taught us, our previous leaders have taught us in developing the Constitution. At least commit yourself to sit in a local. If you can't do that, then you shouldn't have the right to run. You shouldn't definitely want to run. So
that's right. Even if you're a singer.
Pardon me?
Even if you're
a singer. Yeah, just because you're a singer doesn't make you a good politician. So, but anyways, let me go back to this. People probably read there. MMF was denied the Supreme Court advancement for the case, which is called a judicial review for a lot of complexity of legal words, right? But it's called a judicial review. What had happened when we were going to court to take on this challenge to the cancellation of the $67.5 million, and also turning the page where I think it was another $15 million left in that one. And when Pallister canceled those, we went to court. And what we argued is that did he have the right to overrule the Crown Corporation called Hydro, because it's an independent, set aside and basically arm's length Crown Corporation. And that was what the basic of the argument was all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada. We were trying to position that Pallister shouldn't be arbitrarily have the right to cancel an agreement that was negotiated by a body that was been mandated to negotiate these deals. Because at the end of the day, they built a line, so while you're sitting down waiting for your final results of your negotiations and final conclusion, then you can't have somebody cancel it after then you build a line. And what do you do now? So it just shows you again. But this is what's good about this, and thank God for my background. But you look at it already. I told the government a long time ago on this issue. I said, even if we lose this argument to the Supreme Court of Canada, we still win, because now if there is no agreement, and this is the key that people need to understand. Many First Nations have negotiated these types of arrangements, because sometimes duty to consult can take years and can take a long time, and then accommodate. That's why people, if you're listening, duty to consult is a legal binding situation for any government in this country. It's by law. And so when you do duty to consult with Indigenous people, which you have to, that means you got to sit down and see what impacts, how it affects them, what took place, what's going to take place not only today but tomorrow in the future. And then accommodation means, okay, how are you going to settle it? Are you going to give it different land? Are you getting financial compensation? Or are you going to replace it? How do you fix the wrong you're about to do to them? So that's what accommodation means. So, and addresses that. So a lot of times deals are being made where the Crown Corporation or the partner, whether it's a private sector company, oil company, they'll end up doing duty to consult, but they'll want to accommodate it and say, okay, we've done a value of the land we're taking for you, like hydro. We know the hydro lines that are coming into play, and this is how you reflect it. If you see the hydro lines that come into play now, right from the north to the south, those lines are there for 80 years to 100. Okay, so for 80 to 100 years, that land is gone. So that's why then they do a compensation. Okay, so you lost that. What did you lose? Well, you lost the right to hunting, you lost the right to camping, you lost the right to utilizing the lands, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's why they compensated farmers, municipalities. So, but that's not on rights-based. Ours is rights-based. Those are financial-based, or private-owned based. Let's use that phrase, not financial. At the end of the day, they came with a compensation package. And when you look at it, I want our people to understand, now we have the right to sue them for failure of duty to consult. If you have no accommodation, then that means you never duty to consult. You didn't consult with us. So now we'll go to court. We're going to sue them civilly, and we're going to take them forward to court that they did not do duty consult. So they put themselves in a very awkward position by Pallister's action to curb and kill this agreement, and only because he had to blame somebody else. Because people never forget, the only reason he did this is because that entire board resigned on him. Never happened in the history of Hydro in all the years since its development that an entire board resigned on the appointments of their own premier. So instead of taking the blame, instead of taking responsibility that he failed, he grabbed our agreement and he blamed us and Sandy Riley, which is, again, unbelievable that how desperate they would become and how Pallister would try to use somebody else and punish somebody else for his failure. So, again, trust me, my people, we are now going to go to court. Now before we couldn't take them for lack of duty to consult. They didn't give us the money because we had to follow the court process, which is called judicial review. That's why I use that phrase off the start. We had to first clear that issue. Now we can sue them. So again, we'll be filing in court again very soon on this. And again, we will be pushing this government. You're going to give us our money. You built that line. You made a deal with us, and you're going to damn well compensate us like you compensated everybody else. So anyways, I'll keep you posted on that as we go forward on the agenda. I also had a meeting with Minister Ahmed Hassan. He's a federal minister responsible for housing and CMHC and all the rest of them. And we had a very good discussion, and we talked about 55 plus. We talked about the process of where CMHC has an Indigenous department, but it's only First Nation and Inuit, and that they need to have a Métis department inside there. So we are working with this minister. He really understands who we are, and he's made it very clear the Red River Métis will be something that he stands to support and represent. And he will not forget that the Red River Métis represents itself nationally, provincially, and internationally. So I made that statement loud and clear today with our citizens here that we are not part of MNC. We will no longer be part of MNC. They already diluted themselves to be mixed bloods of the, might as well be the Congress of Aboriginal People, because that's who they are now. They're a mixed blood institution. They're no longer, and they try to hide themselves. Let nobody fool you. If you're reading Facebook or you hear somebody talking about it, they use the word modern-day historical community. That's the modern day. What do you mean by modern day? There's none of our people. We're just making it up. Right. So that's the sad part about all this, is they're trying to find a different way of describing these people from Ottawa, Killarney, and all these places in eastern Ontario into Quebec, and that they're calling them modern-day historical Métis communities. They're not our people. Go and fight your fight like we did. Go get your own culture. Go get your own heroes. Leave ours alone. So anyways, but I'll keep our people posted on that. We did have a very good discussion also at Cabinet Finance. So we're going through our financial meetings, our financial programs, because there's so much services now. It's just we have to have a full day just on the finance alone, and ministers need to be on top of their files and set the stage of where they're going, where they're going to be next year. Of course, every minister has got to report back to Cabinet, report back to me, and tell me, okay, this is my budget, and this is where I plan to take our people. This is what the people want, and this is how I want to achieve it. So this is we had a very good meeting. I was very happy about it, and it gets a better perspective of where we're sitting. And then I'll be reporting also on Minister of Economic. I'll be reporting on that in the next upcoming cabinet meeting. Now, CBC, I had a meeting with CBC, the president, Catherine Tate. It was a very good meeting. I was very impressed. They reached out to us as the National Red River Métis. And really, at the end of the day, some of the discussions we had is that I said the media, including you, CBC, you use the word Indigenous too freely. You need to start describing who you're talking about. Even First Nations, there's over 60 probably nations of First Nations or more. And the Métis Nation, there's definitely only one, the Red River Métis Nation. So I said you need to start making sure that when you talk about whether it's housing or water contaminations and stuff, use the word Indigenous. Make sure it's who you're talking about. Educate the Canadians and educate all the citizens that are listening to your show that you're talking about these people, not everybody. Or also all these new programs, you say all these education funds, and use the word Indigenous. That doesn't come to our people. That's First Nations and Inuit. So good for them. But don't misuse the word Indigenous so freely. And also they have what's called self-identification when they're hiring Métis people. So tell me, how did they come before you? So anybody can just say, well, I'm Métis. And how now do you justify that? Because if they self-identify, you're saying you're accepting them. And there's no need for them to prove their identity. That can't be. So you see identity fraud now today, and there's also a serious issue in that. And people are out tackling this, and First Nations are doing the same. So So we had a very good meeting. She was very open to that discussion, very pleased. She wants to see more Métis of the Red River involved. So we're going to continue our dialogue and discussion with CBC. So again, it was a very good discussion, and it's good to see CBC reaching out to us and getting to be educated too about our culture and identity. So I don't think they really fully grasp that the Métis Nation is the Red River. They're thinking that everybody can claim they're Métis because they're mixed blood. I think that's where their failure lies in their mind. It's not. And if you want to take a page out of Ukraine, it's not about them being, okay, I could be Russian today and not Ukrainian tomorrow. I am Ukrainian and I'll die Ukrainian. So again, it's very important to recognize identity. Also want to thank Clifford Waldner at Bone Home. He doesn't listen to our show, but I want to thank him at the Adelaide Colony who quickly, they're not allowed to have radios and TVs in their houses. But I want to thank Clifford in the Adelaide Colony who quickly put together. We couldn't find Ukrainian flags to find in our building and our offices, and so we bought the material. It was difficult to find. We found it. And then we quickly rushed him over, and his wife and others worked throughout the colony overnight and had it ready for us to fly the next day. And so now it's our flag has hit national news, international news. It shows, in fact, the flag. It references the MMF flying the Ukrainian flag on Portage and Main, and it talks about other attributes across the world, Paris, other countries, showing how they're doing their setting their pride to help Russia in their battle of standing up and, giving the ultimate sacrifice their lives. So our MMF, Portage and Main, was shown amongst all international entities that are out there, showing the support we're giving also to Ukraine as a Métis government. So again, as I said, Ray, so much activities taking place, and again, I want to thank all the people for being there, supporting that. Oh, I'm just looking at your picture, Ray. You look young there. It's in Leo LaPlante's office. He looks young. And you guys are both smiling, your big cheeks there. So your double chin. No. Oh, but you look younger, man. It's a beautiful picture. Anyways, you take care, Ray. Be safe, and to all our citizens, don't forget March 25th, 26th, 27th, the annual assembly, the biggest assembly of the nation, is taking place at Cinnamon Downs, and I look forward to seeing thousands and thousands of our people there, and I'm just all pumped up about it, and I can't say enough to our staff. They're working on it, our team, our regional coordinators are all working out there, and Glory and the rest of the team, I thank you so much for trying to make life as best possible for those traveling great distances to come and be part of their government advancement, government information, and government direction. So again, it's great to see all that, and I look forward to seeing all of you at the upcoming assembly at the Cinnamon Downs. So take care, everybody, and I'll talk to you next Saturday.
Okay, David, thank you so much again.
Okay, we'll see you, Ray. Take care. Thank you, Cowboy. Bye-bye.